What's up, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Last one for the day. Julian J. Rock Williams takes a huge upset loss the other day to Vladimir Hernandez. All right, on his first comeback fight since the loss to Jason Rosario, which was in the very beginning of 2020. Okay, where he won the title against Jared Hurd. All right, and he was unified champion going into that Rosario fight. Loses that fight, gets stopped in that fight, and takes a nearly, what I think we're probably 20 months, 20-month layoff since his last fight. Comes back and loses to Hernandez. Let's talk about it. I did cover the fight the other day, and I did address this already in a live. But again, this is for the people that did not catch those videos. All right. This is a huge loss. It's huge. I had to even go back because I saw Hernandez's record, and I just assumed that this guy was a guy that was just a tune-up fight. Come to find out that this guy had recently beat Alfredo Angulo at super middleweight. Okay, Hernandez. All right, he fought Angulo at super middleweight and beat Angulo. And I know Angulo is way past his prime. All right, but we knew that Angulo was always a pressure fighter. And for Hernandez to beat him and come down and fight J-Rock, who, was very rusty. You could tell from the opening round. I mean, the first 3-4 rounds, J-Rock looked good. All right, but you can tell he was rusty. But he gassed out too early, and he couldn't hurt Hernandez. He cut Hernandez early. He cut him again in the other eye, but Hernandez never slowed down. And again, this is probably why, because Hernandez, who was a shorter and appeared to be like the smaller fighter, this guy is used to fighting bigger fighters. He's fought above junior middleweight recently, and even in his past, as I look down his resume. But he's been very active. He fought twice in 2020. He fought in 2019. And then he fought J-Rock. So he was a little bit more active than J-Rock going into this fight. And, I say that to say this, regardless, J-Rock should have still won this fight. He's been one of the elite junior welterweights for years now. He's still young. I know he lost his last fight. I know he had surgery, so I know he's coming from a lot. All right. But he still should have won this fight. And, he has to really ask himself, does he still have it in him? Is he still hungry? Does he still have desire to be champion again? He has to really ask himself, because this division is in a state of confusion right now. I don't know who's the best, and there's not a lot of guys available right now. You have a lot of elite fighters down at 147, and then you got a lot of guys that moved up to 160. There's not many guys there. You got Liam Smith there. You got who just picked up a win. You have Liam Smith. You got Jamel Charlo. You got Castano still. Those two guys got to have their rematch at some point. But there's not many fighters. Erislandy Lara's still around. But right now, J-Rock taking this loss, I can't even tell you who I would like to see him face next. I just want him to pick up a win at this point. Again, and I'm going to repeat, J-Rock needs to get on another card ASAP, immediately. I don't know who he has to do. I don't know what he has to do. I don't know if he has to call Al, but he needs to get on another card immediately. He should have walked out of that arena that night and went straight to the gym. Get back in the gym. Do what you got to do. Get busy, because we don't want to see J-Rock go out like that unless he doesn't have him. Unless he doesn't want to fight anymore. I know he's doing a lot for his city outside of the sport, and that's cool. That's great. I commend him for that. But as far as him boxing, he needs to get back in the ring ASAP, because he has too much talent and skill to go out like that. Listen, I know he was rusty. And I get that. He's coming off surgery and stuff. I understand all that. But he has too many skills to go out like that, all right? Some may even think that he was kind of always overrated. And I can't argue that, because, he did beat Hurd. But before beating Hurd, I think Nate Gallimore was his biggest win. Nate Gallimore was probably his best win. He lost to Jamal Charlo, and outside before Jamal Charlo, he didn't really fight any top guys. So he hasn't fought many top guys at 154. In a division that at one point when he was there too, it was crowded with a lot of people. It was always crowded. And I know people weren't rushing to fight him back then. I know he wanted to fight Austin Trout. I know there's a lot of fighters he wanted to fight. He fought one of the Charlos. He didn't fight Demetrius Andrade. He didn't get Canelo. But before we even get there, let's just get a win. Let's secure a win. Matter of fact, let's secure a two or three of them before we start putting him out there and putting his name next to the top guys. This is not a loss that you have to avenge. You lost a fight. You lost to a pressure fighter that, yes, you was outboxing him earlier, but he had the longer gas tank. He had a better gas tank than you did. And it showed. And you just couldn't hurt him. So listen, recover, but get back in that gym soon so we can get you back in the game. And, hopefully you can become champion again, because the division is still wide open. I know Charlo holds titles. I know Castano holds a title. But there's still a lot of work, and there's not that much talent there right now as opposed to what it was years back. Okay, when Cotto was still around, when Canelo was still down in the division, when Mayweather was dipping his toes in that division, when Paul Williams was still around, there was a lot of guys that were there once upon a time. All right, and then it emerged all the Andrades and the Charlos and all of these guys came around. But these guys moved up. All right, there's not many guys there. So there's still a lot of opportunity there for Julian J. Rock Williams if he wants it, if he's still hungry. If he's not hungry anymore, then he doesn't need to continue taking unnecessary losses. But if he wants to be a champion again, and I think he has the potential to do it, beating a guy like Jarrett Hurd, and outworking Jarrett Hurd, when he's hungry, he can do great things. He even said it leading up to the Jarrett Hurd fight that he saw Hurd wasn't hungry. That's part of the reason why he won. But has he lost that hunger? Even with Jason Rosario, and I know Jason is a huge puncher, but even in that fight, I still believe that J-Rock at his best day should have won that fight. All right, but if you're losing to guys like Vladimir Hernandez, now we have a serious issue. All right. So listen, I hope he bounces back. He's still a great fighter, but I don't know if he still has the hunger to do it. Anyway, that's that, man. I'm out of here. Peace.